inspired by
Yeah,
transcendental meditation of the Vedic traditions,
I see.
which he'll talk about, I'm sure.
Great. Doctor, I would like to meet my wife, Monica. She's also joined. She's Dr. Monica Bhatia. And
Hi.
Hi, good evening.
Hi. Good evening. How are you all?
I'm fine.
yeah,
I'm
hi, Jayashree. Hi,
I'm going
how are you?
to introduce Dr. Aabha, who is also a dentist like me. I don't practice, I work in drug research, but I'm quite excited about this session.
I don't know if Aabha has joined or she's joined.
I have joined at the correct time.
Okay.
And
Hi,
I'm
Dr.
glad to know that you are a dentist too.
Yes.
Yeah. Just give me a moment. I will be joining from another this thing instrument.
Sure. Yeah.
We expect members from the Rotary Action Group Global to join us. So we are expecting audience from Nigeria, Nairobi, USA, Michigan, that is USA, UK perhaps.
It will go above 100, I think.
उनके जो वालिदैन प्रदर्शन लगातार कर रहे हैं उनको एक मानव अधिकार होने के नाते जो उनका था वर्डिक्ट हुआ उनसे मैं गुजारिश करता हूं उनकी इंसाफ के लिए भी आवाज उठाइए और उसके साथ साथ जो
Yeah, I don't know. I was in mute.
DG is going to join in the next 1 minute.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, is Zoom में कितना है? Maximum 100?
yeah, but we have arrangements. Don't worry, we have enough arrangements for that. So not an issue.
Sunanda.
Namaste, Rajendra ji.
Namaste, namaste, Abhay.
Yes. So I think thank you, DG, for joining in, and I really appreciate it. In just 1 minute, we'll start. I'll just give you a background. So this has been a session which we have been trying to conceptualize for a long time. Why it is a great session is for 3 reasons. First of all, it talks about how Rotary action groups really work. Second thing is it talks about what is the mental health action group up to, and third is talks about mental health from a person who has gone through this entire journey, which is Mike Veny. He's an award-winning author, and you won't believe it. He's actually a drummer. He plays the drums. And he is now a motivational speaker. He's written a best-selling book about the mental health awareness toolkit. And DG, you have already interacted with Dr. Rita Aggarwal in the past. She is our RAG chair and she's based out of Nagpur. And what we did was we met her. I'm going to just spotlight her as well. Yeah. So, she's based out of Nagpur and she's done some fantastic work. She is writing regular Mind Matters newsletters and sending it to us all, very frequently. So I would now like you to say a few words and then we begin the session, DG.
Yes, Abhay, thank you very much for inviting me, and congratulations for organizing and planning such a beautiful event.
Thank you.
I've had a talk with Rita Aggarwal also some time back, so I knew her interest, and when you took her name, I realized you are planning something big and wonderful. So अभी मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा,
you've gone on mute, DG. I think technology problems are happening. You'll need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
may go on and off, please.
Yeah.
Abhi, I can just say in this COVID times, there is a big problem, and mental health is a very, very big issue, and it is a very important topic to be tackled, and it is important for everyone, whether it is children or it is adults or it is, senior citizens. So for everything, it is very important, and talking to such people, counseling. In fact, I want to share one example. Back, I was told by police department and many other people, ki as on today, senior citizens, what is the most important requirement? Someone to talk to them. They just require a listener. So, this mental health is only where experts can guide what is important. So what I've heard from so many people, one of the beautiful things is just listening to them heals many, many things. Am I right, Dr. Rita Aggarwal? Yes. So just plan a beautiful programs, and after you finish this session, you can even go ahead and plan doing the projects for mental health as the outcome of this meeting.
DG, our Dr. Aggarwal had a suggestion. Rita ji, this is the right time to propose what you had in mind.
What I had in mind was that I would expect Mumbai Coastline to take the lead with all the other clubs of 3141 to form a district chapter on Rotary Action Group on mental health initiatives, like we have done in 3030. Ours was the first chapter and yours could be the second chapter in India. And that would really be a very nice initiative because you're sitting in the heart of India, which is Mumbai. And you would have a lot of support system ready for you. You wouldn't have a dearth of mental health professionals to help you and NGOs to help you. And we are there to guide you. So that would be, I hope, the outcome of this, because you have gathered a number of clubs from 3141 for this seminar, which is the best thing to happen. Thank you.
We will definitely take this up, and I assure you that 3141, their chapter will be formed and Coastline will take the initiative with the blessings of our DG.
So Abhay, you have with you only 14,000 road tractors in 3141. Just go ahead, make the project, and we'll take it ahead.
So nice to hear that.
Thank you, DG, and I wish you can stay on. I know you have a very busy schedule, but please be part of it. We will share the recording also with you, and I hope we keep interacting the way we are today for a long period of time.
All the best.
Thank you so much, Rajendra ji. Very nice to have you and meet with you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And before I proceed, I will just like to highlight a few things. First of all, I want to acknowledge the co-host clubs. Dr. Rita, we have a concept of co-hosting clubs, which basically means that these clubs are part of the session. I'll just mute. We have 50 plus people right now. So the co-host clubs are Mumbai Downtown, Mumbai BKC, Mumbai West Coast, Mumbai Palghar, Mumbai Dano, Mumbai Kaf Parade, Juhu, Lokhandwala, Kandivali, Mumbai Bhandup, and Virar, Mumbai Green City, Midwest, Nasik Grape City, and of course your club, which is in Nagpur. So I would like to acknowledge all of these. Now, how we'll proceed is, I plan on now showing you a video on the made by Mala Mehta, who's the action chair of mental health for 3141. She was a superhero. You might be very pleased to know that the association with Empower is a social initiative with Aditya Birla Group, and already we have taken advantage in educating educators on mental health, how to see and how to diagnose issues. Various seminars have already taken place virtually, and Mala Mehta is one of the superheroes who's been behind it. So I will now share a quick video with her, of her. Yeah, I think you all can see my screen. I'm going to just start this video. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity to deliver this keynote talk. We are living in demanding times. We are facing complex issues that have profound implications on our mental health. Mental health is integral to our physical and social well-being. The need for mental health support and an action group is illustrated by the following. India is leading the world in depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. India also has one of the highest suicide rates in South Asia. Currently, India has just one mental health professional for 1 lakh patients. Depression has been ranked by the World Health Organization as the largest contributor to global disability. Over 50% of the suicides globally
Can't hear.
by people.
I can't hear.
Sorry, is no one able to hear? You all can hear, right?
Yeah, we can hear.
No, not really.
Okay, I'll try to make it full again. Just 1 second. Unfortunately, this is a recording. She's not there live. So whoever can hear can take advantage. I will share this recording with everyone.
45 years of age. And then came the COVID-19 pandemic, which has only further exacerbated mental health concerns. In fact, according to the WHO, the economic loss due to mental health conditions in the decades between 2012 to 2030 is estimated to be $1.03 trillion in India alone. It is as if by premonition that Rotary District 3141 partnered with Empower, a Rita Birla initiative, just before the COVID-19. Our goal was to promote mental health awareness across all schools, colleges, and communities affiliated to Rotary clubs. The lead club for this wonderful project is the Rotary Club of Bombay Hanging Garden. And I take this opportunity to thank District Governor Rajendra Ji for his unwavering support for mental health awareness. During the pandemic, Empower had conducted webinars for various community groups identified by the Rotary clubs and dealt with topics like peer relations, stress management, bullying, depression, and anxiety. To date, we have touched more than 4,000 students and 300 teachers with our endeavor. As a part of the commitment by Mrs. Rita Birla, all workshops and teacher training programs were sponsored entirely by Empower Foundation. And no Rotary, Innerweave, or Rotaract clubs have been charged for any of the services availed by them. And now that education institutions have reopened, RI District 3141 is conducting these workshops with the support of Empower within the school and college premises. My congratulations to President Rotarian Aabha of Rotary Club of Mumbai Coastline and Medical Director Rotarian Aditya Mehta for taking the lead and organizing a district-wide mental health awareness seminar to form a Rotary action group for mental health initiatives. The lineup of panelists today is indeed prestigious. Dr. Rita Aggarwal, an acclaimed psychologist, Dr. Aabha Pimprikar, who has vast experience in mental health care of teach. I wish the Rotary Club of Mumbai Coastline all the very best in this challenging and gratifying endeavor. Thank you so very much.
I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, so those who could not hear, my apologies for it. I think most of us could hear the session, and Dr. Rita, you could hear it, right? There was no issue, right? Yeah. So like I said, Empower has really helped us this year, and Mala Mehta is actually spearheaded this initiative. And Dr. Rita, you won't believe, as far as Ranshet, Ganjad, these are villages in Palghar, totally remote. And these sessions were done by professional psychologists, and it has given, we did a rating as well. And this rating, we've got some superb ratings on this. The teachers now know how to diagnose these issues. So I think, we touched a very good thing, and I'm glad Coastline has been very proactive on this.
Cream of mushroom soup.
Just one second. Aditya, you need to mute yourself. Yeah, okay. Now, to start things off formally, your first session, I invite my friend, the Vice President of Rotary Club of Mumbai Coastline, Siddharth Sate, to introduce Dr. Rita formally. So I'm just going to first pin him. Siddharth, I hope you're there.
Yes, Abhay, I'm there.
Yeah. Very nice and handsome and proactive guy who's going to now introduce Dr. Rita. Over to you, Siddharth.
Abhay, whenever I speak to you, I always feel better about myself. Thank you for that. Okay, good evening, everyone. Firstly, on behalf of Mumbai Coastline, I would like to welcome everyone here for this mental health seminar. Over the next hour, 2 hours, we have a great lineup of speakers available for you. And first up is Rotarian Dr. Rita Aggarwal. To say a few words about her, she has done her MA MPhil in psychology from Mumbai University and has been a consultant psychologist for the last 35 years. Dr. Rita Aggarwal is also an expert behavioral trainer, a columnist, a TEDx speaker, a charter member and director of the Rotary Action Group on Mental Health Initiative, which is called RAGMA. She's also an editor of Mind Matters, a member of the Indian Psychiatric Society, and a member of the Indian Association for Clinical Psychologists. Dr. Rita has also been associated with Rotary Club of Mumbai Coastline for over the last 2 years. I believe Doctor has hosted seminars during the previous couple of years with various presidents as well. And with her immense expertise and practical knowledge and experience in the field of clinical psychology, she has conducted several sessions on mental health awareness, which were attended by more than 75 kids in the peak of the lockdown on Zoom, which is, I think, a great effort and very difficult to achieve. So all I can say is thank you, Doctor, for being a part of RCMC. Thank you for being here. And with that, I hand over the screen to you.
I just want to add one thing, that Doctor did a camp with Gandhi Shikshan Bhavan children between 8th, 9th and 10th standard. And the kids loved it. And they keep getting back to us saying, when is the next session? So Dr. Rita, your schedule is packed with us.
Thank you so much. It's
over to you.
A very good evening to all of you. It's my honor and privilege to be present here today with District 3141. And it was my good fortune to have met the District Governor, Rajendra Bhai. And my very good evening and warm welcome to all the co-hosts of 3141. And I would also like to acknowledge the presence of members from the Rotary Action Group Global. So I'm sure we have members from Hong Kong, Nairobi, UK, USA, Nigeria, and I would Canada perhaps, because last time we had members from all over who were very keen to attend this meeting. So thank you so much. I must thank Rotarian Aditya Mehta, Director Medical, for his very passionate commitment and dedication to mental health services, and to President of Mumbai Coastline, Rotarian Aabha Bhatia, who both of them make a wonderful team. And I have been associated with this club for the last 2 years now, and it has been a wonderful association. I almost feel I'm part of the club. I don't feel like an outsider. I receive your newsletter also regularly, and you're a very young, vibrant, energetic club, and I love that. So, shall I take off with my what is RAG, the why and how of RAG, because I'm here to speak about that.
Absolutely.
It is very heartening to know that the district governor and all of you are already committed to the formation of a district chapter on mental health at 3141. And I'm amazed to hear of your programs with Empower. You have a solid NGO behind you to support your efforts, and that's the best thing to happen. That's what I said. There are a lot of resources at Mumbai. You will never have a dearth of resources. Aditya ji, can I have my PPT, please? It's a very short PPT. So what is a Rotary Action Group? Rotary Action Groups are actually groups organized internationally by Rotarians and Rotractors who have professional expertise, and they have one particular subject matter of interest. And there are a number of Rotary Action Groups by Rotary International. In fact, it's one of the best registered groups by the Rotary International. It's a great facility and a great opportunity for people who are interested in one single area of work to become a member of a Rotary Action Group. So what do? They help clubs and districts plan and implement large-scale projects in particular areas of service. In fact, I did not myself know about Rotary Action Group until we started the formation of the Rotary Action Group on mental health initiatives, which was way back in 2014 and 2015. And I'm not surprised that a lot of Rotarians, maybe more than half of Rotarians, have no idea that there are Rotary Action Groups in which we can get involved, because that gives you a global connect. It gives you a global network. And that's the beauty of Rotary. You become part of a large international family. Next slide, please. How to form a RAG would be not an easy job, because you need at least 50 prospective members representing at least 5 countries and 3 zones, and they should have a common interest in a specific service activity, which should be in alignment with the objectives of a Rotary. So instead of forming a RAG, you could form a RAG also, but you could also become a member of an existing RAGs. Next slide, please. We'll go fast on this. There are 25 Rotary Action Groups, and you can see how they are categorized. There are 2, 3 on promoting peace. The largest category is fighting disease, where we also fit in. There is mental health, there is addiction prevention, Alzheimer's, blood donation, diabetes, family health, AIDS prevention, and the likes. Then another category is providing clean water and sanitation. Saving mother and children is a category, supporting education, growing local economics, and protecting the environment. And let me tell you one thing, there were actually 27 action groups way back, and 2 were deregistered. So Rotary Action Group can also be deregistered if you do not follow the guidelines established by Rotary International. And it's not an easy process to get registered as a group. Next slide, please. This is a little bit of the statistics of how many groups 27 rags is an old statistics. The current existing group is 25. So it has it decreased by 2 groups. Then there are about 27,000 action group members worldwide, 140 countries represented, and the average size of a Rotary action group could be anything between 600 members. Now coming to my RAG, which is mental health initiatives. On the right side is my board of directors. And the left side depicts a project which is being done by the Rotary Action Group in Nigeria. This project is complete now. It's known as the Prevention of Depression and Peer Leadership. Now, this same project is being replicated in India, in Nagpur. It's part of a global grant which we have got sanctioned. And it has been conducted in Hubli, Karnataka district earlier. And it has also been conducted in various Rotary clubs in USA. So this is one of the very popular projects which is called Wellness in a Box. Next slide, please. So a little bit information about what the Rotary Action Group on Mental Health Initiatives do. We help formation of district chapters of action groups. For example, the first one was formed in 3030, a year ago, but we started working informally 2 years ago. Aabha, my colleague and friend from 3030, Dr. Aabha Pimprikar, will be talking about it. We offer resources such as toolkits to people worldwide, which are free of cost and are available on our website. We offer capacity building training in behavioral health care. So there are training programs available online. We are connected with Boston Children's Hospital, which is part of the Harvard Medical School, and they offer training in prevention of depression. They are offering also now a training program in behavioral health care for pediatricians to build their capacity in the area of mental health. Then we help communities to implement toolkits. Mansi model at Bengaluru, this is something you can Google. It's a model of community mental health care. It's a very extended and intensive project where it runs like, it's an NGO, but it runs like an hospital and OPD with doctors and full-fledged staff and with a lot of community involvement. And it has been created by one of our directors at the Rotary Action Group Global. She's Dr. Geeta Jayaraman from Johns Hopkins University. She's a psychiatrist. And her club, Rotary Howard West, along with the hospital Johns Hopkins, has started this Mansi model at one of the Rotary clubs in Bengaluru. Speakers Bureau is, we have a list of speakers at the Ragni level, and we often get a lot of invitations from here and there to come and speak at their clubs and at their forums, which we gladly do. I spoke at Thousand Islands at Brookville recently, which was a very good experience. We come to know how different clubs work and how their interests lie and stuff like that. Global membership and networking, sharing of ideas and collaboration. I just now saw one of our members, and she's part of our board of directors, Hawa Abbas from Nigeria. Hi, Hawa, nice to see you. Welcome. The last slide, please. Aditya, can you just roll it up, please? Hello. Yeah. Now, this is something which I'm making an announcement. On March 25th, we have Rotary Day with Rotary International and UNICEF. And the topic is girl, child, and mental health. And you'll be happy to know that a girl child, an interactor, 16-year-old, has been selected from a group of girls worldwide, and she belongs to Nashik, and she belongs to Rotary Club of Nashik, Grape City, and she belongs to my district 3030, and she would be leading the panel, and she would be interviewed by UNICEF and Rotary International chair on Rotary Day on 25th. I'm going to send the link to all of you And actually, Rotary International is going to send the link to all the Rotarians worldwide. So we are extremely proud and happy of this. And thank you so much. I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And like I said, the timing is going to be well maintained because you are very punctual, Dr. Rita, and you make sure that things are moving smoothly, and I really appreciate that. And our next speaker is also ready, and I would like my wife and board director and Dr. Monica Bhatia to please introduce our next speaker. Monica, are you around?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you
So
so much.
let me put the spotlight on you first. And I'm just going to put the spotlight on the next speaker as well. Over to you, Monica.
Hi everyone. On behalf of RCMC, I welcome everyone for this wonderful seminar organized by our club along with other clubs. I'm here to attend this seminar as well as to introduce our next speaker, who is a dentist like me. I feel very proud that she's a dentist and her career is admirable. I'm going to introduce to all of that in the next few minutes. So without any further delay, I'm introducing Dr. Aabha Pimprikar. She's from Rotary Club of Nasik Grape City. She is the president of District Action Group for Mental Health Initiatives in this, from District 3030 India. She's a dentist as well as an entrepreneur, and along with that, I would like to add her various philanthropic efforts that she is putting into Rotary and otherwise. Education-wise, she's done her bachelor in dental surgery from Amravati University in 1997, and she holds a postgraduate diploma in clinical research and regulatory affairs from MCRI and NUHS Nasik. She's been practicing dentistry since 1997 with special attention to child dentistry, which is called pedodontia, and braces, which is called orthodontia. Along with her husband, Dr. Mandar Pimprikar, she owns a dental clinic and a micro company, Innovation Sendo, that deals with education and research in the field of dentistry and the sale of few dental products. She has also recently ventured into manufacturing of spice powders, which blends under the name of Subhojium, which is quite interesting. We would like to buy that. After participating in various Rotary projects as Rotary Ann, she decided to join Rotary last year, which is, I'm sure, a huge gain for Rotary. She was the chairperson of Medical and Youth Services Committee. Since psychology has been her area of interest, she attended a workshop, First Aid Depression, organized by Dr. Rita Aggarwal, Chair, RAG, and soon joined the RAG group on mental health initiatives. She also organized an online district level slogan and poster competition on mental health awareness, which was a huge success. The RAG team then arranged various mental health awareness programs throughout the district. This year, since the global pandemic has thrown mental health awareness on center stage, the RAG team decided to consolidate this initiative in the form of DACMI, which is District Action Group Mental Health Initiative, by forming the BOD. Dr. Aabha was unanimously nominated as the president, and she looks upon to spread the MHI pan-India. I welcome Dr. Aabha to please take us through the next section of the seminar. Dr. Aabha, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Monica. Nice to meet you virtually. It is always an honor to get introduced by a dentist.
Thank you so much.
And thank you everyone for having me here. I'm going to talk in short about District Action Group on Mental Health Initiatives, that is DAGMI. It is the world's first district chapter of RAGMI, that is Rotary Action Group on Mental Health Initiatives. Next, please. Now, even before we started DAGMI, we were working in the mental health sector, or you can say we were trying to create awareness in and around mental health. So from May 2020 to June 21, that is, we officially formed our board of directors. We did almost 33 projects. Some were short projects like webinars and seminars. Some were little long projects. almost 22 clubs actively engaged in projects and 90 Rotarians participated. Now, when I'm giving you this number, actually we received response from the whole district 3030, but these clubs and these Rotarians were actually a group members of a WhatsApp group that we had created for this activity. The major activity was Mind Your Mind, which is a slogan writing and poster making competition. We received 550 entries. So those were the registrations. Actual entries, that is the slogans and posters, exceeded a huge number. As Dr. Monica told, our first session was on first aid depression, which many Rotarians from our district, that is 3030, attended. And I guess as Rotarian Bhatia mentioned, for the host club also, the same topic was covered by Dr. Rita. Other than that, we covered various topics, and even Rotary Club of Nagpur, Rotary Club of Jalgaon Midtown started 2 counseling helplines, wherein we were not giving the treatments, but we were just talking, as someone mentioned. So we were just talking to the people, and if need be, they were referred to psychologists and psychiatrists. Other than that, one social counseling helpline was run by Rotary Club of Devlali. So overall, the outreach was 3,000 Rotarians, 700 interactors, 300 Rotractors, and teachers as well as parents. Now this year, this number has increased. Now when I'm talking about outreach, here I'm not considering the Mind Matters magazine, which is our signature project. Now this is my board of directors, because last year, like in July 21, we decided to consolidate this in a form of board of directors. Now Rita ma'am in her presentation told about the guidelines. Luckily for us, up till now, there is no guideline on forming a district chapter. So maybe they will soon introduce some guidelines. So I request you all to have your DAGMI before these guidelines actually come into place, so that we can rework around the guidelines. Next, please. As I mentioned, this is our signature project, which is a brainchild of Rita ma'am. She started with Mind Matters in the month of April 21. So actually in March, we have completed 1 year and we'll be celebrating first anniversary in the month of April. I hope you all are receiving the magazine on mail. If not, I will be dropping. Yeah. So I hope you're circulating it in the with the club members also.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yeah. So this has international and national circulation. It has reached almost 1 lakh people are reading it, and we keep on receiving wonderful feedbacks from our readers. And it is a theme based. We decide a theme we had children mental health, we had women's mental health, we had workplace mental health. So it is a dedicated magazine towards mental health awareness. Next, please. So these are our missions and aims: to encourage all the clubs in District 3030 to form mental health committee. Almost half of the clubs have already formed and they have started conducting the various projects and programs. Now, initially in my previous slide, when I mentioned we did 33 projects, now DAGMI is looking forward to encourage the clubs to conduct the projects, and we are just acting as a resource bank. So we give them programs and ideas, we provide them with the speakers. We encourage them to conduct district level activities. We also conduct some district level activities like competitions, social media campaigns, and we arrange various webinars with the help of club and members. Now, when I talk about members, the members are paid members. We have a very tiny membership fee so that people can join us. And we are open to receive membership from the non-Rotarians as well. And we look forward to conduct long-term projects in the community. If I get time, I will talk about the long-term projects. But currently we will go to the next slide. This is our call to action. Join the movement to mental wellness, enroll as DAGMI members. As Rita ma'am said, you can join the RAG which is currently existing. Similarly, you can join DAGMI 3030. You can start your own chapter. Together, I appeal you all, let us change the #1 cause of disability worldwide, which is mental illness. Let us change to mental wellness. These are my contact details if you want to get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I'm just doing a bit of IT setup. And doctor, it was amazing to know you're doing so many things. How are you finding time to manage so many things at a time? I think more than anything else, you need to keep a session on time management for all.
Sure, we'll do that.
Great.
Can I just
yeah, sure.
I just wanted to make a correction. District Action Group on Mental Health Initiatives 3030 is the world's first chapter of the Rotary Action Group. But there are a lot of other chapters which followed through, and that was Nigeria. Nigeria has 4 Rotary districts, and in all the 4 districts, they have Rotary Action Groups district chapters. And now the formation of district chapter is going on at the USA level in Rotary Club District 6960. And in UK and Ireland also, the process of forming a district chapter is going on. We have our representative from Nigeria. Can we just tell her to say hello to all of us?
Sure.
Because she is a very dynamic board of director member. She's part of our director, and she's the one instrumental in spearheading the district chapters in Nigeria.
She needs to identify herself.
Hawa, I make a call to Hawa to just say hello to everybody. Otherwise, if Mike is there, we can proceed with.
Yeah, Mike has joined. Mike, are you there?
Hi.
He's there.
Hi.
Mike is here.
Namaste.
So I'm going to spotlight Mike because he's such a handsome guy. And what I'm going to do is, Rita, with your permission, I'm going to quickly introduce Mike Veny. So I have been told that Mike is a very busy guy. So first of all, Mike, thank you so much for giving us time. Good morning to you in New York, and hope you're doing well.
Good evening to all of you.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Welcome to India.
And before I introduce you, please look up Mike Veny drumming videos. I think I was thoroughly entertained watching those videos. I think he's a superb drumming guy, and I was in the afternoon I was just doing that, so it was on in the background while I was doing my work. So I'm a fan, Mike, and to quickly get on with it, I'll introduce Mike formally. Mike has overcome a lifetime of mental health challenges to become a professional drummer. Just 1 second, I'm just going to mute everyone. I request everyone to please be on mute. Okay, Mike, I'm going to give this one more shot. So our next guest has managed to overcome a lifetime of mental health challenges to become a professional drummer and one of America's leading mental health speakers. He is the author of the best-selling book, Transforming Stigma, How to Become a Mental Wellness Superhero. His advocacy work has been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS News. As a 2017 PM 360 Elite Award winner, our next guest was recognized as one of the 100 most influential people in the healthcare industry, guys. He is also a writer for corporate wellness magazine Health Central and has delivered a TEDx talk titled Mental Illness is an Asset, mind you. He works with a variety of companies, including T-Mobile, Heineken, United Auto Workers, GM, and the Wounded Warrior Project. In his spare time, he enjoys weight training, doing transcendental meditation for 20 minutes, 2 times a day. So amazing to know he's got so much time. He lives in New York City And I found this really amazing. He's addicted to buying luggage along with watching YouTube videos on how to pack a suitcase. His packing checklist for business trips is one of his most prized possessions. So helping us today understand transforming mental illness, the stigma, is none other than Mike Veny. Mike, thank you so much for joining in. And I really appreciate the fact that you've taken out time for us today.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you for being here. I just want to let you know that I'm going to talk for about 20 minutes or so, and then I'm going to leave some time open for questions because I want to hear your questions. If you have questions that you don't want to ask in front of the whole group, I'm going to tell you where you can contact me privately and ask me a question, because this is such an important subject, you know. And this morning I was thinking about this presentation. So it's 9:45 a.m. here in New York. And I woke up thinking, okay, I get to start my day with a presentation here. But one of the things I'm excited about is, you're going to hear about it in my story, but there's a big connection to India and Vedic culture in my journey that I want to bring up that's very, very important to my mental health, actually critically important to my mental health. And for all of my speaking career, I've actually wanted to speak in India. So this is not the same as being there, but I'm hoping that if I do well, this is the start of one of you saying to someone, hey, you got to hire this guy to come to India. So that's what I'm hoping for. And also, I do want to say that even though I'm going to be talking about mental health in a general sense, I've actually done some research on the culture in India and how you all go about mental health. So understand that I'm doing my best to bring some of that here specifically to you as it relates to you. But that being said, I've been struggling with mental health challenges my entire life. It's all I know. Some people would call it mental illness. Some people just say mental health issues, whatever. I've been struggling with it my entire life. And to describe what I go through, I don't have the kind of time that I would want to have to describe it. We'd be on here for days. So the best way I can describe it is by describing something I love deeply in this world: food. If you want to be my friend, you got to like food. I am a foodie, love me some food. And if you can picture a kitchen with an oven, and I'm not talking about like a regular kitchen oven, this is like an industrial restaurant kitchen oven. And typically there are 4 burners on this oven, 4 burners. And on the top right burner, simmering in a frying pan, is my obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm trying to give a presentation to you right now, and I'm obsessing about 10 different things. It's making it hard to focus. On the lower right burner is my anxiety. I don't know how I'm coming off to you right now, but this is not easy for me to do. I'm feeling it in my chest. On the top left burner, simmering in a frying pan, is my anxiety and depression. And on the lower right burner, there's a stock pot. I can take the ingredients from each frying pan, put it into the stock pot, close the lid, and turn up the heat. That's a problem waiting to happen in this kitchen. And if you're following me so far, the kitchen I'm talking about is not in my home. It's in my head. I've been in this kitchen my whole life, and it's made it difficult to make friends, to interact with people. It's made dating difficult, all that stuff. And it started when I was a kid. When we talk about mental health, we're actually talking about 3 things. We're talking about thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Now, what's interesting is when we talk about thoughts, you can't see someone's thoughts, right? We can only maybe tell someone what we're thinking. When it comes to feelings, we like to think that we can perceive how others are feeling, but you can absolutely observe someone's behavior. And that's where my journey begins, with behavior. I grew up in a wonderful home in New York. My brother and I have a younger brother, Jason, who's a lawyer now. And we had some awesome parents. They did the best they could for us. And we started to discover when I was 5 years old that I would have behavior problems. I would start acting out. I would start punching things and destroying things. I got really angry. I thought I was a bad kid. And my parents didn't know what was wrong because my brother was doing just fine and my parents were good parents. But I would just get really angry and I didn't know what to do with my anger. And so at the end of 1st grade, my parents decided to pull me out of public school and put me in this place called Catholic school, where they figured the nuns would straighten me out. This is not going to go good, right? But needless to say, they put me in Catholic school. And I remember like it was yesterday, I was sitting in class in 4th grade, like this, literally sitting like I am right now in 4th grade, smiling. And the teacher, her name was Sister Pat, she was known as the mean and evil nun, yelled at me and told me to wipe the smile off my face. And I said, the thing you should not say to your 4th grade teacher, I said, no. Now, you know how this goes down in a 4th grade classroom. Everybody goes, ooh. So Sister Pat then started yelling at me and I I said some things back to her that I'm not going to repeat right now. And she then tried to grab me by my arm and pull me out of my desk. And I tried to punch my teacher as hard as I could. She then took holy water and threw it on me, called me the devil. I took the holy water and threw it back at her and said, put this on your wrinkles. I was expelled from school that day, and my parents had a very serious talk with me about respect, a very serious talk. And then I told them that nobody has a right to talk down to me. We didn't get anywhere with the conversation. And I'm 42 years old right now, and nobody has a right to talk down to me, but I don't punch people anymore. But back to fourth grade. I'm expelled from school in fourth grade. They then decided to put me in a public school where my uncle was the principal. They thought it'd be good for his career and good for me. Well, long story short, after 3 weeks, several fights, and a desk mysteriously flying out of my hands in the direction of my teacher, I was expelled from that school. 2 expulsions from school in fourth grade. The rest of fourth grade, I got to say, was the best school year ever. Best school year ever. I got to stay home every day. That's back in a time when we wanted to stay home. We're kind of done with staying home nowadays in the world, right? With all that's gone on. But back then it was great. I got to stay home every day. The summer between 4th and 5th grade, we went to see the movie Batman. And just to qualify this, because I love my superheroes, this is not the current Batman movie or Ben Affleck starring as Batman. It was actually Michael Keaton starring as Batman, and Jack Nicholson was the Joker. I love this movie so much. My parents told me if I behaved, I could be Batman or the Joker for Halloween. I don't know if it was that movie or something else, but I came home from that movie and I got angry at a level that I never had before. I mean, we all get angry sometimes, right? We all snap. But when you're in a rage is when you are intensely angry for a long period of time and you can't get out of it. I was punching things in my parents' home, destroying things. My parents tried to stop me. I would fight them. I didn't care. And the next thing I know, I was put in a mental hospital. And that's a scary place, especially when you're a kid. And after 3 weeks, they let me out. In 5th grade, I was put in what we call here in the States special education. And the cool thing about special education was that I had a teacher kind of dedicated to me. I was actually afraid of this woman. I'm still afraid of this woman. She's about 5 feet tall. She still scares me to this day when I see her. But needless to say, I found a way to annoy her. I would actually tap on my desk and play drum beats. Loved doing that on my desk. But when I wasn't in the drum class, which was most of the time, I was feeling sad. And I would later learn that the sadness is called depression, this intense sadness. You see, my depression is so intense. This morning, when I woke up a few hours ago, I actually feel physical pain in my body from depression. It's a condition. It's a medical condition. It doesn't make me less of a person. It's just something I live with. And when I'm 10 years old, though, it's hard to explain that and articulate that. And oftentimes when we struggle with mental health, we just want a solution. I mean, that's why we're all here today, right? We're talking about solutions for either ourselves or people we love. And so I had a solution. On September 29th, 1989, at 10 years old, I came home from school and I went into the medicine cabinet and found an entire bottle of my mental health medication and swallowed a bottle of pills. And I almost died by suicide at age 10. My mom found me on the floor and rushed me to the hospital and saved my life. I'm grateful that she did that, but I was angry at her because I just wanted the pain to go away. I didn't understand why she was getting in the way of it. Fast forward to 7th grade, I'm a lot bigger and I'm a lot stronger. And I'm going into rages more at home, but I want to be really honest with you because I believe in transparency. When you're in 7th grade, 13, 14 years old, going into a rage, that's not a rage anymore. It's called violence. And I'm ashamed to admit it, but it's the truth of my story. I was also self-harming. That's a big challenge for people. And self-harm is an interesting term because people think sometimes one thing is self-harm. Self-harm is anything you do to harm yourself. It can mean destructive driving, right? It could mean hanging out with the wrong group of people. That's a form of self-harm. But I was self-harming and I was exploding, self-harming and exploding. And the next thing I know, I'm put back in a mental hospital, this time for 6 months. My parents didn't want anyone knowing about it. They told me that, we needed to get me help and fix this because they wanted me to have a good life. They said, no one's going to want to hire you for work and no one's going to want to marry you if we don't get this fixed. And no one can know about this. That's what I kept hearing when I was growing up. And 7th grade in the hospital was interesting because eventually I got weekend passes and I got to go home on the weekends and see my family. But instead of doing family activities, I would just lock myself in my bedroom and play drums to LL Cool J and Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was 7th grade. Between 7th grade and 10th grade, I am proud to say I was on a first name basis with the local police and the local emergency room. I was constantly in crisis. It's all I knew. I knew their favorite sports teams and their kids' names because It was a regular thing. And by the time I finished 10th grade, age 15, I'd been expelled from 3 schools, hospitalized in a mental hospital 3 times, several suicide attempts, lots of self-harm, violent at home, and on so much mental health medication. I was the poster child for an at-risk youth. All the while, my younger brother, Jason, is doing just fine. Everyone loves Jason. Jason has friends. Jason gets good grades. And so the summer between 10th and 11th grade changed my life. I want you to hear what happened very closely. That summer, my mom approached me with a question. Now, I want to say something about moms, because in my opinion, moms are the most dedicated people on the planet. They really are. In my company, I have several moms on the team. They get stuff done like nobody's business. If you want to get stuff done, give it to the mom on the team to get the stuff done. But let's be honest, as a group, moms are the sneakiest people on the planet too. Let's be honest right now. Even when you're an adult, they do sneaky mommy tricks on you and you have to watch out. And so I knew my mom was up to something. She was being sneaky. She asked me a question though. She asked me, what would make you happy? I knew she was trying to pull something on me. I said, what do you mean? She said, just answer the question. What would make you happy? No one had ever asked me that question before. I was told that I needed to behave. I was told that I needed to get coping skills, but no one had ever asked me what would make me happy. So I thought about it and realized the only thing that would make me happy is playing the drums. So I told my parents, I want to stay home and play drums all day. And my dad said, absolutely not in my house. But moms are sneaky. My mom went behind my back, I didn't know it, to actually find a performing arts high school that would allow me to play drums most of the day. I auditioned for it and got accepted. And what was really interesting was that starting at that school, my grades started to go up. With the help of my psychiatrist, my medication went down to 0. People wanted to be my friend, and I wasn't acting out anymore. Being around music changed my life. Things started to get so much better for me. And by the way, I'll never forget going into this school. I was the same height that I am now. I'm 5'9". I was about 100 pounds lighter, but guess what? I had hair. I had some serious hair. I missed that hair. I was really long and I had sideburns. I was cool back in the day, but that was high school. One day I remember in school, I was struggling with my emotions. And the cool thing about a performing arts high school is that you can go into a room to practice your instrument. So I stormed out of class and went into a room to play drums. Now, pause this presentation for a moment. When I do live presentations, which I do often, I actually bring a drum with me and I would play for you. I'd totally play my drum for you nice and loud. But I'm in New York City in an apartment and I'm going to get myself in trouble if I start playing a drum right now. So I'm not going to do that, even though I'm used to getting in trouble. But back to high school. So there I am. I'm in the room playing drums and the teacher comes in and says, what are you doing? You need to be in class. I said, I know, I'm doing my thing. And then he asked me a question that changed my life. He asked me, can I hire you to play drums in my band? Hire you to play drums in my band. At that moment, the light bulb went off in my head. When I acted out the other way, I got suspended, expelled, went to the police, the emergency room, or the mental hospital. But when I acted out on the drums, people wanted to give me money. So I approached my parents as a high school senior with the question no parents of a high school senior want to hear. I said, Mom and Dad, I want to be a drummer. Can you support me in being a drummer? As my brother is talking about being a lawyer. And my parents, I would love to tell you that they supported me. I think they were just okay that I was okay. And their heads just went down like this. But here's the thing. My first semester of college, all my friends wanted to go out and celebrate at the end of first semester. That's usually what you do in college, go and celebrate, party. I couldn't go out with my friends because starting at age 18, I was being flown around the United States of America, being paid thousands of dollars to play drums. The career worked and I became a professional drummer. And to this day, I'm still a drummer. Actually, I do it a little differently now. I do drumming in the workplace. I actually get to work with leaders in companies, basically adults. They hire me, they sit in a circle with me, they play drums, they get sweaty and they smile and pay me. That's my job. Like literally, it's like a grown-up child. I love it because it gets me to share the medication that helped me with others. But I want to be honest with you. I still struggle. I still struggle every single day. But more than the struggle was, what if you found out? You might not want to be my friend. If we were working together and you found out, you discovered something was a little off with me, you might tell someone and I might get fired. So That for me was the stigma surrounding mental health. I didn't want anyone to know about it. I just wanted to look like I had it all together. And I realized that stigma affects different people in different ways. But what happens is people are not getting the help that they desperately need. I was looking at statistics in India this morning on mental health and people reporting about mental health conditions amongst young people specifically, and how it's a very low percentage of people that will admit that they are struggling with mental health. And hopefully you can take something today that can actually help the people in your life who might be struggling and yourself if you are struggling. So here's a very important concept I want you to remember. Stigma is a three-part process. It starts with shame. So you might feel ashamed about something you're going through right now, or you might love someone and feel ashamed about their journey. The shame leads to silence. You don't want to talk about it. And the silence leads to sabotage, social injustice, self-destructive behavior, and suicide. And it keeps going. Let me say it again. Stigma starts with shame. Shame leads to silence. And the silence leads to sabotage, social injustice, self-destructive behavior, and suicide. But the reason I'm here talking to you right now is I'm going to show you how to transform it in about 15 minutes, which is record time, because usually this is a 90-minute presentation in the workplace. So you're about to see me really get to the point on some things. Let's start with shame. You transform shame in your life. Oh, it's telling me my internet. Oh, there we better internet. Okay, sorry, it said my internet connection was unstable. That's the theme of the past 2 years, right? Seeing that internet connection unstable on Zoom. So stigma starts with shame. The way you transform shame is through self-care. When you take care of yourself, for some oddball reason, you start to feel better about yourself. Now, self-care is a term we're hearing often, but if you go on Instagram right now and you type in self-care, you look at, I don't know, pictures of massage tables and stuff like that and vacation and all that. Self-care is all that you do to take care of your health when you're not in the presence of a medical professional. So if you brushed your teeth today, which I hope you did, that's a form of self-care. If you bathed, that's a form of self-care. It's what you do for your health when you're not in the presence of a medical professional. When you start doing that, you feel better about you. Now, for some of you, self-care might mean you have to make sure that you pray every day, or you meditate, or you exercise, get fresh air. For some of you, it's taking your mental health medication. Whatever it is, it's unique to you. But I want to give you some self-care that you can actually start doing right now for yourself. There's a secret that I know about all of you right now. I've got special technology on my end that I can see you through the camera. I can tell that as you're watching this presentation, you're doing something else at the exact same time. I caught you. I outed all of you. You got another window open on the computer. You got your mobile device open. You got something else going on. That's okay. Don't feel ashamed. You can do those other things. We all have other things going on. In his book, Getting Things Done, author David Allen talks about the fact that we all have these open loops on our mind. We're constantly just thinking about things. When we don't deal with those open loops, it becomes what we call stress. When you don't deal with that stress, you get to this point where you're tired all the time. That's called fatigue. And when you get to the point where you can't function, that's called burnout. So let's just start with these open loops on our mind, all the stress. One of the things that you can start doing right now is what we call a brain dump. You take out a pad of paper and a pen and write down everything that's on your mind. Not just the things you need to do for work, but it could be ideas that you have for the future. Maybe that person in your family that you're so angry at, the secret that you've never told anyone, whatever it is, put it on a piece of paper. I would love to tell you that it will take away all your problems. I would be very wealthy if I could say that. No, it will make them more manageable. And I challenge you, as you're watching this presentation, if you're feeling overwhelmed, take out a piece of paper right now and start writing down everything that's on your mind. This is an activity anyone can understand. You can give it to kids, professional organizers, professional coaches, give it to people. It's so simple. In my home, we have these yellow legal pads in every room and pens, so someone can do a brain dump if needed. It's a simple way to start taking care of yourself. But back to me, one of the challenges that I had for many years was my mind would just go and go because of my anxiety. I would obsess. And one of the game changers in my life was learning transcendental meditation, which comes from the Vedic traditions of meditation in India. I had learned about meditation for years, but in the world of meditation, at least in the United States, transcendental meditation was considered the big mama of meditation. That was the big one, like when you were ready to go there. And it has changed my life. So I want to say to those of you that have access to some of the different Vedic traditions and alternative forms of medication and healing, they can be extremely helpful. Twice a day for 20 minutes, I get to shut this brain off. Completely. I get to shut it off completely. It's a gift that I give to myself every day. The brain is not meant to go and go and go and go. It's important to take breaks. Here's another self-care thing that you can all do. After this presentation is done, chances are I'm about to pick up this phone right here and look at it. Why am I going to do that? Because it's a cultural habit to just pick up the phone and check it for some reason. One of the top two things that have been stressing people out over the past 2 years is news and social media. Now, here's the thing. No one tells you to look at your phone. Hopefully no one is holding a gun to your head saying, look at your phone. We do it as a habit, and then we get stressed out by all that's happening. One of the best things that you can start doing for your own self-care is put some boundaries around this. Maybe leave it shut off for an hour every so often. It might feel hard to do, but it's important. And also that leads me to another thing. As we avoid our emotions, it's very easy just to start scrolling on this thing to distract yourself from what you're feeling or thinking. So these are two things you can start doing for self-care. They're going to help you feel better about you. If you love someone who's struggling, you're going to feel better about you so you can help them. That's how you transform shame. You transform silence through having, it says unstable connection. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you. It's all good. Don't worry.
Okay. The way you transform silence is through having the conversation. I mean, look at what your Rotary Club is doing right here. We're having a conversation. This whole event is a conversation about mental health, but we need to bring it into everyday life. And I know that's very hard. For some of you, you might be thinking, okay, we just don't talk about it. That's okay. The key to getting started talking about it is to start small. So maybe you don't tell someone that you're battling depression, but you can simply say, I'm having a difficult time at home with something. Everyone knows what that is at some level. We all have had something difficult going on at home. So it's important to start finding ways to start having the conversation. It's not going to be easy. Now, I can tell you this, some people aren't going to respond very nicely to that, and that's okay. And I want to speak as a professional speaker for a second. When you communicate something to someone else, you can't determine their reaction. So let's just say I'm giving this presentation to you. You all hate it. So you're just going to send me nasty messages in the chat like, Mike, what is wrong with you? You're evil, blah, 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 blah. I can't control that. Please don't do that. But I can't control that. You know, if you try to control someone's reaction, that's actually technically manipulation. All you can do is deliver the message. So some people in your life are going to respond positively, others negatively, but you can start small. Once you get used to that, the repetition of that, it starts to get more regular in your social circle. It takes time though. It's not a one and done thing. So the key is start talking about it, start talking small, having the conversation. That leads me to something else, therapy and counseling. So a lot of times people think therapy and counseling is the place you need to go to if you're having real problems. Yeah, but there's a big secret that you might not know about therapy and counseling. If you want to grow as a person, if you want to grow your income, if you want to be more successful in life, therapy and counseling is one of the best things that you can invest in. You see, there's what you know about yourself, what you don't know about yourself, and what you didn't know that you didn't realize that you didn't know about yourself. That's what therapy and counseling can help you with. It's self-discovery. That's all it is. So when you are trying to help others, maybe some of you might go to therapy and counseling and you're like, I'm trying to get other people. They're not listening to me. It's because people think it's like, well, I have to be weak or in a really bad place to go there. No. If you want to be the best person you can be, you go there, and I guarantee it will dramatically change your life forever. Now, for those of you on this call who've been to therapy and counseling and are thinking, well, I don't want to have to go do therapy and counseling again. I don't have to share my whole story again. I just want to let you know, if you're thinking that you don't want to share your whole story again, that's usually a sign that you need to share your story again and you've got more work to do. So I encourage you to do that. Treat it as growth and self-discovery. The final thing, connection. That's how we transform the sabotage, social injustice, self-destructive behavior, and suicide. Connecting with each other. Now, we're kind of doing this right now in this meeting, but what does that mean in our everyday life? I want to share like one tool that you can use for connection right now. If you've been watching this presentation, You'll notice that I take moments to sometimes look into the camera like this, and it might feel like I'm looking right at you. And I want to explain technically what I'm doing here. So my computer's right here. I'm looking at the screen. I can see all of you on the screen. Hi, everybody. And the camera is up here, right? But when I look in the camera, I'm not looking at the screen. I'm just looking into a lens. But I'm imagining looking into your eyes and seeing your humanity. And hopefully you can feel that on the other end. One of the big challenges with this Zoom world, this remote world we've been in, is we've lost the ability to have that one-on-one connection with people. And one of the greatest things that you can do for your mental health and for someone else is take a moment to look into someone's eyes and see their humanity. It will change your life and it will change their life. And if you are visually impaired or you know someone who's visually impaired, the same principle applies. See others and do your best to be seen. Think about it as a metaphor, whatever that means. So keep in mind, when you do this over Zoom, if you decide to start doing like me over Zoom or FaceTime and looking into the camera, just do it for a few seconds. If you just like keep staring the whole time like this, it's going to make the person feel really uncomfortable. So don't be weird. Don't be weird. But the key is to take a moment to look into someone's eyes and see their humanity. It's one of the greatest ways you connect. So let me just summarize all this. Number one, stigma starts with shame. Shame leads to silence, and the silence leads to sabotage, social injustice, self-destructive behavior, and suicide. But you can transform it like this. You transform shame to self-care. What are you going to start doing to take care of yourself? You transform silence through conversation. What are you going to start doing to start talking about this more regularly? And you transform sabotage, social injustice, self-destructive behavior, and suicide through connection. What are you going to start doing to connect more with people? Because this is a learning experience, I want to challenge all of you. Since I've thrown a lot at you here, a lot, I want you to think about what's the one thing that you can take from this presentation that I gave you. And I'd actually like to, I'm going to give you a homework assignment. I'd like you to find me on LinkedIn and send me a message and let me know what you plan on doing in the next 24 hours from what you learned today. This is not something that's theoretical. You can start applying this stuff today, and it's so important. That being said, I want to just let you know that I'm the author of this book, Transforming Stigma, How to Become a Mental Wellness Superhero. And it basically has everything I just shared with you, but in a lot more detail. So you can check that out. And I also have some other books on my website. We have courses for continuing education. Actually, we just came out with a workplace mental health course that we have really been getting a lot of great reviews on for employees. Like, how do you talk about this stuff in the workplace and still like get work done and help your fellow employees? So check that out on my website. And that being said, one thing I didn't say that I want to, oh, there's there's my website right there. So yes, you can go to www.mikeveny.com. One thing that I didn't say to you is that one of the greatest ways that I've actually connected with people with my mental health struggles is by being a Rotarian, by getting involved with Rotary, by having the opportunity to give to others and connect. It's so, so important. But in closing, the final thing I want to share with you, if you take nothing else from this presentation, I just want to give you one final thing. For the past 2 years, people throughout the world have experienced anger, grief, and fear at an unprecedented level throughout the world. And we don't like to talk about those emotions. In fact, sometimes they're called negative emotions. But I want to share a secret with you, a secret that I wish someone would have taught me, and it would have changed my mental health journey. And the secret is this: anger, grief, and fear are 3 of the absolute best emotions you could ever have, and you need them for success in life, and you need to start chasing them more. Let me explain. Let's start with fear. Fear is a big one for a lot of us. When you don't deal with it, it becomes anxiety. If you've got anxiety, it's going to make it a lot worse. But when you learn to sit with your fear and feel it, not run away from it, feel it and talk about it with a mental health professional, fear quickly transforms into vision and courage. You need your fear. And then there's grief. And as I bring up grief, I know that many of you have lost people. And I know that grief is heavy, and there's nothing that I can say that can transform your grief. I know that. Grief It's heavy and it just lingers. When you don't deal with your grief, it becomes depression. If you've got depression, it's going to make it a lot worse. But when you learn to sit with your grief and feel it, not run away from it, and talk about it with a mental health professional, over time, grief slowly transforms into joy. But you have to be willing to do the work. But I've saved the best for last, anger. Anger's become my favorite emotion, actually. We don't like to talk about anger because when we think of anger, we think of hostility and violence, but they're actually different things, right? Anger is just a feeling. Hostility and violence are behaviors. Anger, when you learn to just feel it, talk about it with a mental health professional, and express it in a healthy way, anger quickly transforms into passion, decisiveness, and successful leadership. Anger, grief, and fear are three of the absolute best emotions you could ever have. You need them for success in life. You need to start chasing them and working with them. And as a fellow Rotarian, I just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you, Rita, so much for reaching out and making this possible. Please contact me. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're going to apply this stuff. And that's it for my presentation.
That was superb, and thank you so much for it. And I think, if anyone has any questions, can either put it on the chat box, or if you're feeling bold enough, not bold, but you really want to have a one-on-one with Mike right now, you can just simply unmute yourself and then ask a question. My only request is to please mute yourself after that. So,
So can I just go ahead with congratulating Mike? And this is the second time I've heard you. And believe me, it's so fascinating to listen to you, to hear your story. You say it with such honesty. But I'm a practicing psychologist. My question to you is, when you talk about it like this in a public forum, does it affect you? Does it upset you? Does it revive old memories? Or you're managed it so well and you've recovered so well that you're not emotional about it any longer and you can talk about it like we can talk about anything else?
I love that question. I thank you so much for that. I wish more people would ask that. I'm actually going to remember your question for future presentations because I'm going to bring it up if no one has a question. Actually, it brings up all the emotions. It brings up the heavy emotions. I might get off Zoom here and just have to sit with myself and tears might come down, but that's okay. Because the lesson that I've learned and that I hope to, that you all see is that just because it's intense emotions doesn't mean I need to run away from it. It's just a part of the day. So after I'm done, if that does come up for me, I'm just going to sit there and let it, feel it. I've got people I can talk to if I need to and reach out. But here's the thing, the more I do that, the easier it becomes to share the difficult things. They're not as scary, they're not as intense. And that's the cool thing about sharing things. Like when you share something that you've never shared, you take your power back. A lot of times, sometimes it's those secrets we carry that really hold us hostage. The moment you share it, you take your power back. So I'm able to not necessarily like feel good doing it or anything like that. I feel good helping all of you and seeing your faces, seeing you smile and stuff makes me feel good over here. But to answer your question, to answer your question, the key for me in sharing it and bringing up all this stuff and being honest is allowing myself to feel it and just not run away from it. And that has been a beautiful discovery that I've made. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. It's always nice to listen to you and how you come across with your stories so honestly. Amazing.
Mike, there are more questions which I've received one-on-one. Does drumming still help you heal?
Absolutely. Drumming still helps me heal. But I actually believe, and this is actually a great question, because when it comes to healing, it's not one thing. A lot of times in life, we want that one thing to fix our thing. Like my car was having some issues a few weeks ago and making sounds. So I took it to the mechanic. If the mechanic said to me, Mike, you're going to have to bring your car in multiple times and we're going to have to learn about the history of it. I'd be like, no, like, what's wrong with you? Like, fix my car, right? We kind of want to fix our mental health like that sometimes. And usually when it comes to treatment, it usually takes multiple things. So for example, someone might have to go on medication. They might have to do something like an arts activity like drumming and maybe have a mental health support group. So it's finding that combination of things. So to answer your question, drumming is a part of the combination of things that help me. I'm actually on medication for depression. I see a psychiatrist, I see a psychologist, I have a mental health support group. Those are things that I need to do. And believe it or not, one big one for me is actually water, making sure I get my water every day, because sometimes we don't realize it. We get dehydrated, and the signs for dehydration are very similar to that of depression and anxiety. So you could be thinking that you're in a bad place when it's just like you didn't drink your water. So it's really important that I do that, and especially with how much I travel, making sure I get my water.
Got it. And Lionel wants you to recap your presentation, and where he's saying that anger can be transformed to ... He didn't quite get it. What can anger be transformed to?
Got it. Fear can be transformed into vision and courage. Grief can be transformed into joy. Anger can be transformed into passion, decisiveness, successful leadership. And I should say power. Anger is your power. You think about it when you get angry, like, if you get angry, you sometimes just want to stomp your foot. Well, that's putting your foot down. And when you actually stomp your foot, if you decide to do that, you'll actually feel better for a moment because you're standing in your power. We get angry because someone took our power away. The key is just figuring out how to take that power back. That's how you really transform it. I know it's easier said than done, but once you start embracing that concept, you can figure out how to apply it to your own life.
Can I ask another question?
Sure.
I'd like you to elaborate, Mike, as to how grief can become joy.
Grief is heavy. It feels heavy. It just lingers. I was taught that it's very wet in the sense that, like, tears, right? Lots of tears, lots of sadness. But what happens sometimes with grief is that it lingers and people don't deal with it. People don't deal with it. It just lingers and stays with some people. It stays with them forever. I've been grieving for 30 years over something. But grief, when you learn to just sit with it, not make it go away. A lot of times in life, we just want the feeling to go away. It's like, I'm feeling this way. What do I need to do to not feel this way? Right? The key for a lot of the stuff is sitting with that grief. So I have some things that I've been grieving, and sometimes I'll just purposely think about those things and feel that intense sadness, feel that intense loss, and don't try to make it go away. And what happens is the grief actually starts to process itself. And you'll find that over time, it becomes less and less heavy, less and less intense, less and less paralyzing. And slowly, after a while, you'll still remember the memory of whatever it was that gave you the grief, but you'll also be able to smile at the same time. Takes time, though.
Another question, Mike, which has come up is that what was the thing that kept you moving forward during those worst periods in your childhood? Because you spoke about it so openly, and I'm really impressed at the fact that you didn't feel shy in sharing your experience. So what was it that made you keep going forward?
Well, I think what made me keep going forward was the hope that this would somehow get better one day. And fortunately it did. But now, to be very honest with you, sometimes my days as an adult are worse than when I was a child with mental health. But what keeps me going forward is helping others, actually. So for example, let's take today. A few hours ago, I woke up, depression and anxiety through the roof. But I got to be on a presentation this morning to help some people that I've never met in another country. So it forced me to get out of that and just say, okay, we need to be good enough just to do this. And that was the motivator right there. Everything was around this presentation. Okay, we got to make sure we're dressed and ready by this time. We're going to figure out how to do that. And I feel better, actually, talking to all of you. So emotionally, I'm in a much better place than when I woke up. So thank you all for helping me with my mental health today.
That's very kind of you. And another point which I observed in your TEDx talk, you talk about how when you get a physical injury, like your wrist, you're in the gym and then you injure your wrist. So either it's a strain, a sprain, or maybe it's a fracture. So you know that there's a doctor and you can sort of go to and he'll give you maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But the mental illnesses or mental problems are so difficult to diagnose, because how does one really realize that, okay, I need professional help, or this is something which will pass by, maybe I just need to rest? So what do you think is the way? How do you, if there was a flow chart to make that, how do you solve it? How would you go about it?
Okay, so something to think about in life, and thank you for bringing that up. I shared about, like, in the gym years ago, I hurt my wrist doing some push-ups. I was trying to put my hands in different positions. I was probably trying to impress some woman in the gym. I'm not gonna lie, right? I ended up hurting my wrist. It's a sprain, a strain, or a broken wrist. Wait 2 days. If it doesn't get better, call a doctor. We oftentimes wish we could solve problems like that, right? If there's something wrong, let me Google it, right? Let me Google it and see if I can figure out what the answer is. Mental health challenges are confusing, complex, and frustrating. There's no like direct path to an answer. And so it's important to approach it. And this goes back to the whole therapy thing as a process of self-discovery. So maybe you're just feeling a little stress and you're not sure if it's something more. You don't have to find the answer. But by going to therapy and counseling, you get to start exploring whatever it is and learn about yourself. And in that process, it's not about ending up with a diagnosis or anything like that. It's about your own self-discovery, learning about you. And so the key for understanding all this for all of you is to understand that we as humans don't like things that are confusing, complex, and frustrating. Like, for example, if someone from the future came to all of us right now and said, listen, all of you, I want you to explain what happened in the entire world in 2020. How the heck are you going to explain 2020 to somebody? Like, where do you even start, with that whole year? Because it's confusing, complex, and frustrating. We have difficulty with that as humans. So learning to embrace that is really key. And even for myself now, like a lot of times I'll be struggling and I don't know the answer, but that's okay. I don't need to know the answer. I embrace that it's confusing, complex, and frustrating. So thank you for that.
Thanks a lot. And one great question on the chat is, how do you manage your thoughts if there are too many things going on or happening? I guess one step would be to do the brain dump, like you said, right? You sort of note it down and maybe then prioritize it or something like that. How would you go about it?
Oh, brain dump, even probably after this call, like I got a bunch of things on my mind for stuff I need to do, traveling again today. Doing a brain dump. Another way to do it, if you don't want to write things down, you can just find a voice memo app on your phone and just say it all out loud into the voice memo. That's really the key to doing it, is just finding a place to put it. Sometimes being up here and staying up here is not good. Like, we all think we can keep it together and try to muscle it out and be strong. No. It's like prison up here. So the key is to get it out in some way, shape, or form.
Got it. And one of my co-presidents, Anup, is asking that, hey, Mike, you may get sometimes angry with the way the others behave or with others' actions. How do you deal with it? So basically, how do you deal with an idiot?
I've never been asked that question. I think it really depends on the idiot, and it depends on the situation. If it's at work, obviously, you got to keep it professional. But you know what? Actually, that's a great question, because mental health challenges and people challenges go hand in hand, right? Can't have one without the other. So chances are, when you start learning about your mental health, you learn about some relationships in your life that were problematic, difficult. And I think it's important to learn to deal better with people. But to answer your question, one thing that I try to do is have boundaries with people, which is very hard. It's easier said than done. But what that means is that you make intentional decisions about what you give your time and energy to and who you give your time and energy to. For example, I get, requests for presentations all the time. I tend to lean toward, Rotary, and Rita and I are both with the mental health group on Rotary. So it's like, okay, that's one of my people right there. I definitely want to do this, because that's actually a form of a boundary. That's one of the reasons I'm here. It's like, safe space for me. I love what these people are about. But, if it was just some random group on the street, maybe, I don't know what this is about. I don't want to do that. So I think it's important with people in general to do your best to have boundaries. There's a great book called Dr. Henry Cloud's Boundaries. That's the author, Dr. Henry Cloud. He talks about boundaries as a property line. Like if you think of with a house, like if you think of your own self as a house, right? There's people that you are only going to wave to across the street. You're just going to keep them across the street. Like you stay right over there. Certain people you let on the lawn, maybe a few people you let in the house, and hopefully very few people you let in the bedroom. That's the idea behind boundaries, is that you have different, you're intentional about that. The other thing is learning to say no to people is really hard in this world. And there's a book that you all might want to check out called The Power of a Positive No. It's written by a hostage negotiator. And the thing is, we don't want to say no to people because we think it will damage the relationship. But then we end up saying yes and resenting that we said yes to whatever it is. So it's learning how to say no in a way that actually builds relationships. It's been a real game changer for me. So these are some ways that I'm learning to deal with people. It's not perfect. Trust me, I got my idiots I got to deal with every day. But it's learning ultimately. I think all this is about putting strategies in place for yourself.
Got it. And one of the speakers who just spoke before you is Dr. Aabha. She has a question. Aabha, you may go ahead and just shoot your question out, please.
First of all, if there is any noise in the background, I'm extremely sorry, because we are having Holi celebrations going on in and around where I stay. My question, Mike, is you spoke about being vocal about your emotions or whatever you have gone through. But in my experience, I'm not talking about myself. I understood clearly that if I have some issue, then I should be talking about it. But in my life, I have realized, especially with the younger generation, if they have some issue, they realize that they are going through some mental issue or some mental problem, but they don't want to be vocal about it. They understand that they need to go to the therapist, but they avoid doing that. So how will you address that issue?
I love talking to youth, by the way. I really do. I mean, I'm going to get emotional talking about, I got to speak to some youth yesterday, and some of them, they were actually athletes at a college. So forget regular youth, the athletes, they're like the super tough ones. Like, we really got to be strong, and it was some of the most macho male athletes that had the best questions at the end. And I think for a lot of people, especially young people who want to do well in this world and all that, we see mental health challenges as a form of weakness. That's where it's up to us to start talking about our own struggles with them. I think a lot of times the key to helping someone else is by sharing yourself. I've had many therapists, my psychiatrist will sometimes, I'm sitting there going to her for therapy. Some of the stuff she shares, I'm thinking in my head, it's like, whoa, you got like real problems too. It's the greatest thing that she could do to connect with me, though. It makes it comfortable for me to open up. So for all of you who serve people and maybe can't get through to someone, maybe that's an opportunity to admit about how you go to therapy and how you struggle. You don't have to go into details, but it's an opportunity to connect and put everyone on an even field. We often think that, okay, well, I'm the only one that goes through this. Everyone else has it together. Everyone else has it together. That's the key to breaking down the barriers here. It's not a one and done thing, though. It takes place over time. Repetition, though.
Got it. Thank you.
Actually, Mike, what Aabha is talking about is the stigma we have in society.
Yeah.
There's a huge stigma, and you very rightly said, if I have a mental health problem, it means I'm weak. My character is weak. My mind is weak, and therefore I need help. So children would just bottle it up. And parents also would just keep silent about it. And they would try their own good-natured advice, which wouldn't work.
Yes. And can I just say something about that with parents and the stigma? Because this is true for all over the world, actually. Oftentimes parents struggle if their kid might be struggling because the parent might think they're a bad parent if their kid is struggling. One thing I encourage you, if you deal with parents of kids who are struggling, is to let parents know they're not a bad parent. If their kid is struggling, it means their kid is human and breathing. That's why they are struggling. And with that stigma, the key to transform it, because think about it, in other areas of life, there have been certain stigmas that have transformed. I'll tell you one that I know took place in the US for probably about 40 years. Breast cancer. No one talked about it for a while. It was called the big C. You whispered about it. No one said anything. But because of certain campaigns investing in messaging, keep repeating it, commercials, get a mammogram, all that stuff. I mean, we're to the point today where you've got pictures of celebrities putting their mastectomies online and showing the picture out there. So that's an example of how stigma can get transformed. But the key behind that was the repetition and the messaging. It's not a one and done thing. So when it comes to our youth, I think it's really important, again, even if you get resistance, is to just keep at it, keep persistent with it. The other thing I just wanted to say, and I didn't get to talk about it much, is questions like, how can I support you? Help me understand. Give people the space to start talking about it more safely. And a lot of times, again, we live in this world that's all solution-based. It's not about a one and done solution. So there's a lot of things to think about when it comes to that stigma that we carry. I would love to say we could transform it in one little hit. That'd be really cool if I could say that. I'll do my one presentation and boom, it's done in your society like that. But no, it's something that over time you keep working on, and just one person at a time. If you just simply get one person to start going to therapy, you've done your job. You never know who they're going to tell about going to therapy. That's the key. The other thing I just want to say, and this came up recently, a lot of the efforts we're putting out right now around mental health, we're not going to see the results in this lifetime. It's important to remember that. We all like to see results, right? I like to get my little like on Facebook if I put something on there. It doesn't work that way with this. It's really important that we remember that we need to keep the effort going, but some of the results of transforming this stigma we might not see in this lifetime, but that's okay. That's not a reason to not do the work, though.
Great. And if anyone has any more questions, they should go on LinkedIn and just shoot a message to Mike. And also, like Mike said, highlight what are they going to do in the next 24 hours that will be impactful. And Mike, that's a nice painting of a starry night, I think, behind you. I hope I'm right about that, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. We got the picture from somewhere. You guys are all in my kitchen hanging out with me. Okay.
Yeah, that's the fun part. And Mike, thanks a lot for giving a time out. I would like my next president of our club, Namrata Shah, to formally give a vote of thanks for the time which you've invested here. So Namrata, I'm just going to add you on the spotlight. Namrata, over to you.
Thank you, President Abhay. Wow, Mike, wow. My mind is simply blown. I mean, this was possibly one of the best seminars that I've attended online. I mean, I think we've all had, Zoom fatigue and COVID fatigue, and we are kind of done with this whole online, knowledge impartation. But, this was just simply fabulous. So I'll just quickly formally, shout out a special thanks to our DG Rajendra Aggarwal for making it at such a short notice. And in fact, it was his vision that, this mental health becomes like a district-wide event. And next, I'd like to call out Rotarian Mala Mehta, who's the Avenue Chair for Mental Health and Literacy, for all the support behind the scenes. Dr. Rita Aggarwal, who has been associated with our club for the last 2 years and has been, in fact, involved in a lot of key projects to initiate discussion on creating awareness and probably more about, in the district and Rotary clubs as well. We have Dr. Aabha Pimprikar. She's from the Rotary Club of Nasik Grape City. And thank you, Dr. Aabha, for sharing a lot of helpful information on district action groups. I myself wasn't aware about these till, we spoke about it today, and your diverse knowledge for the same. And last but not the least, Mike Veny himself, all the way from New York, making it possible to speak at such an early hour. And, your enthusiasm catches on, Mike. I mean, we are all back, after a long, grueling day at work. And, since you've spoken about this, I'd like to take this platform. I'm going to take just half a minute more. So I don't think anybody from my club knows about this, but since you spoke of social stigma and also talking and conversations, I'd like to open up here and say that I've been myself mental health, I don't know whether to call it a patient or what, but I've been suffering from debilitating panic attacks for the last 8 or 9 years. And, I myself am in therapy, and I could resonate with every word you said. Literally, I could identify with possibly every comment you made, every tip you gave. I think I'm going to try that on myself, and I'm hoping that, this works. And I hope that I can also reach out to others and, help them the way you did today. So thank you very much for this. And lastly, not the least, Rotarian Aditya Mehta for just getting this entire organized, this event organized. Thank you, Aditya. You've been a great, you've been instrumental in this, coordinating this event with so many people on board. So I think, yeah, that's about it. And over to you, Abhay.
Yeah, and Mike, I'm going to practice going close and saying thank you. Thanks a lot. And Dr. Rita and Mike, thank you so much for taking time out. I appreciate it. And Dr. Rita, if you want any concluding words, you can go ahead.
I think everybody should unmute and give Mike a big hand or a big clap.
Absolutely. Yeah.
He deserves that.
I think what we need to do is now fly him to India and make him have his tour and make him eat some Indian cuisine, make sure it's spicy so that we see real tears as well coming out while he's eating.
Abhayji, I will take care of that with my masalas.
You're on mute, Mike. You're on mute.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say tandoori chicken and opportunities even to do more meditation. It'd be the ultimate mental health trip for me, right?
Yeah. So you just tell us the date and we're going to book it for you. We're going to make sure you're here for a month and you go. By the way, there are more than 12 clubs participating over 5 districts. We also have some international district. Rita, do you want to quickly shout out to them as well? So that
Yeah, I wish they would just show up their faces and say a hi.
I can see district 3450 Menza is there. So
he's from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Hello. I'm from District 3450. It covers Hong Kong, Macau, and Mongolia. Nice to meet you all here. And thank you, Mike, for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. And anyone else, Rita, because you know this audience much better than I do.
There was this director from Ragmi, Hawa, but I don't know if she's still there. Then there was Shamita from Nairobi.
Yeah. And
Shamita, are you there?
Yeah, I'm trying to speak. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you.
I can't see her. Where is she?
I can't move my picture because I'm driving. So
okay. Oh, okay.
Hi to you all. I'm coming back from work. I'm Shamita Motin. I'm actually a Bengali from Calcutta. I'm a counseling psychologist and a psychotherapist.
And she lives in Nairobi.
I live in Nairobi, but my district is Kenya, Eritrea, and Ethiopia. Sorry, and Sudan, Southern Sudan. And I'm very happy to see Veny here. I've heard of him. And I would like him to come to our district 9212 and give us, we are starting a chapter in our district. We are working. I'm a rugby member. And,
wonderful. Wonderful to know you're starting a chapter. I didn't know that. Great. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and I think, Rita, do you know Louis Ma? There's Louis Ma also. And
yeah, I think they should just unmute and talk.
And hello, actually, Louis Ma and also IPDG Eric Chak is from our district 3450.
Okay, okay.
May I invite our immediate past district governor, Eric, to say a few words to us? Would you mind?
Wonderful.
Yeah, sure, Eric.
Hi, everybody. Mike, your sharing is amazing. Yeah, that's wake all up. Yeah, it's so nice. I already connect you in LinkedIn.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you very much. And, congratulations for a very successful seminar.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think you're the youngest district governor I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
I've never seen such a young district governor. So you know that the age is going down everywhere. So Mike, have you held any district positions or things like that?
No, I haven't. I mean, I've just, I'm mainly involved in my club's projects for the Rotary Club of Wall Street. And it's funny. I was just going to say though, I do plan on doing more with Rotary this year, just because it's been so good for my mental health. I love giving back. I love all that we do. And just a quick thing, I just want to let you all know, and this is something to keep in mind as we navigate things. When I was struggling, I had a breakdown about 5 years ago, really bad mental health breakdown. The one group of people in my life I will never forget would not leave me alone with checking on me about my mental health were the Rotarians.
Wow.
Superb.
I mean, they would just not leave me alone. And you know what? That taught me something about what it is that we do. So maybe at the end of the day, the key to transforming all the stigma is just to be the good Rotarians that we are.
Lovely.
And spread that out in the world.
That's a great message. And I always feel the motto of Rotary, service above self, is the biggest motto one can have in one's life. Service above self.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mike.
Superb. So thank you, Mike. Thank you, Dr. Rita. Thank you, Dr. Aabha. Thank you, co-presidents. And thank you, co-presidents and members of other districts across the world. We truly have had an international event. And I do hope we all meet in the future. And one thing our club will do is definitely form a chapter in the district 3141. And once again, thanks. And I wish you all a happy Diwali, a very happy Holi. Holi is the festival of colors. It's there tomorrow. Mike, you would have had a lot of fun. There are a lot of these jalebis and things like that to eat. And oh my God, there's really amazing food, which we're all going to gorge. Maybe we'll send you some pictures so that we make you jealous and we want you to come and meet us soon.
That's fine. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great. So thanks a lot. And Dr. Rita, with your permission, I'll just end the session.
Thank you. Bye-bye. God bless.
And
thank you, Dr. Rita.
Keep up the good work and good night to you. Have a great day, Mike.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
And take care all.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Stay safe and healthy.
Yes.
Thank
yes,
you. Thank
I'm
you,
ending this
President.
now. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.